So about 18 months ago, I reviewed the EasySMX X05, a controller that I described as being reliable, compatible and affordable, with some premium pizzazz. But now we have a new and improved version in this, the X05 Pro, which offers everything that I liked about the original X05, but also offers some significant improvements that will have many gamers very tempted. It has Hall effect thumbsticks, two-stage Hall effect triggers, improved RGB, cross-platform compatibility, two additional mini bumper buttons, as well as an overall design philosophy of trying to create a super silent controller that shouldn't keep anyone up if you do have some of them late night gaming sessions. But is it any good, and is it something that you should be keeping your eye on? Well, in today's video, I aim to find out. To do this, I will be reviewing the X05 Pro in 4 review categories, talking pros and cons in each, all before giving my overall thoughts at the end. At this point, I will mention that this controller was sent to me for the purposes of this review, but as always, this has had no impact on the content of this video or my views expressed in it. I'll also mention that if you are interested, EasySMX have been kind enough to offer my subscribers a 15% discount, which I've left in the description of the video. I've also left a link to the controller on the EasySMX website in the description also, if you do fancy checking it out in your own time. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get into it. So as mentioned in the intro, we will be putting the X05 Pro through its paces in 4 categories, starting with the price, and anything that's included with a purchase. Secondly, the design and key features, beginning with the aesthetics before talking about the gamepad's main attributes. Thirdly, the customization, including cosmetics or anything that can affect gameplay. And then finally, we see how it performs in the playtest. Let's kick things off by discussing the price. And I'm thankful to say that despite this offering more than the original X05, it still comes in at a very affordable price point. In the UK, it will set you back around £28, the US about $36, and in the EU around €32. So as I said, a very affordable and tempting price point. But what do we get included with a purchase? Well, of course we get the controller itself. Next, a USB dongle to connect wirelessly to PC. Thirdly, a USB Type-C charging cable, and then finally the instruction manual, which of course has all the information you need to help you configure the controller to your preferences. Taking a quick look at the accessories, and to be honest, they are both a little basic, but as long as they perform well, that's all that matters. The dongle does have some nice EasySMX branding, which is nice, and the USB cable appears to be identical to the cables provided with other EasySMX controllers. So again, the X05 Pro comes in at a tempting price point. It would have been nice to see an improved charging cable, but overall, a pleasing package. But let's move on to the second review section and discuss the design and key features. Beginning with overall design, and as with most EasySMX gamepads, we have asymmetrical thumbsticks and a button layout that closely mirrors an Xbox controller. I have the white version right here, and it sports a full white front shell, accented by a silver circular D-pad and grey face buttons and thumbsticks. There is also a couple other variations available, a black one and an almost purple controller I believe. We also have 2 very effective RGB areas. Firstly around the D-pad, which I love, as well as one on the top of the controller. Moving on to the back, and the main shell is again white, but we also have grey rubberized grips on both of the handles, which not only are effective but also add good cosmetic contrast. Also on the back, we can spot a dial right in the centre that we can flip between to choose how we want to connect to our devices. Slightly further up, we can also see 2 switches that are used to implement the trigger locks. When it comes to texturing or grip added throughout the gamepad, we of course have the side grips, which feel awesome, and some around the rim of the thumbsticks, but other than that, it is lacking, with none found on the bumpers or the triggers. Aesthetically, I think this is a really nice looking controller. It's clean and the RGB does give it a pop. But let's talk about the features that the X05 Pro has to offer, shall we? Starting off, I'll begin by mentioning the cross-platform compatibility. The X05 Pro is designed for PC, iOS, Android and Nintendo Switch consoles. As talked about, the selection of which device you connect to is chosen by flipping the switch on the back to either Bluetooth, Nintendo Switch mode, or the mode that connects to the supplied dongle. We will talk about how it performs on each platform later on, so stick around to the playtest section of this video. Next, we have Hall effect thumbsticks, a no-brainer for controllers these days, as we all want longevity out of any purchase we make. and Hall effect thumbsticks means no stick drift, which is awesome. Something I've always been a fan of when added to controllers is trigger stops. These allow us to shorten the travel of the triggers and let us get our shots off quicker or reach our maximum speed that little bit faster. Another feature I was happy to see included were the 2 additional mini bumper buttons. Now, if you've been on my channel before, you'll know I'm a huge fan of this kind of input. It's my favourite way to YY, and on the X05 Pro, it does allow for some nice gameplay variations. Although, as much as I do enjoy them, it does make me wish that they had been able to incorporate traditional back buttons as well to complement them. Quickly running through the rest of the controller's features, and we have a 1000Hz polling rate when played wired or wirelessly on PC, customizable RGB, a 1000 mAh internal battery, silicone side grips, 4-zone vibration, and an 8-way D-pad. In this section, for the money, the X05 Pro does pack an impressive amount of features into a budget price gamepad. Aesthetically, it is clean, stylish, and the mini bumper button inclusion is a highlight. But is there anything we can do to configure the EasySMX X05 Pro to suit us better? Well, let's move on to our third review section, the customization. But before we get there, I'd like to thank each and every one of you who watch my videos, share, and of course hit the like button. But I have noticed that well over 90% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to the channel. Now, while I appreciate all of the support I do get, the best way to support the channel is by hitting the subscribe button just down here. It's easy, it's free, and it helps me to continue making review videos just like this one. But anyway guys, let's get back to the video. In general, the customization is a little lacking, but we do have a couple things to play with. Of course, we have the RGB lighting. I feel the X05 has some very effective RGB, and it's super easy to change up. All we do is hit the M button twice and then toggle through some preset animations, select our preferred colour, or turn it off completely, if you would prefer. For me though, I like to stick with the default multicoloured preset. Next, we can of course bind functions to our mini bumper buttons, be that weapon swap as I mentioned earlier, jump, crouch, or even the pinging of an enemy can be mapped to these buttons. We also have the ability to set macros on them too. If this is something you like to do when gaming, this is an option. But other than that, there isn't much else to talk about regarding the customization. So let's roll straight on to our final review section, the playtest. As always, we have to start with how it feels in hand. And honestly, it feels pretty great. The overall form factor is obviously very Xbox-like, and it's a good size for me personally. In terms of comfort, I'd again say it excels, the rear silicone grip being the highlight, keeping the gamepad secure while also adding some cushioning. The thumbsticks feel nice and smooth with good rotation, and because EasySMX have done all they can do to produce a quiet controller, I would definitely say the slapping you usually hear from fast stick movements has been reduced. The same can be said with the triggers, they are pretty whisper quiet. Also with the D-pad, it again is super quiet. Touching a little more on the D-pad, and although I don't play too many titles where this is the main input, I have been very impressed. Its 8-way almost circular-like design makes it adept to most game types. While in use in platformers, it always feels accurate. Going back to the triggers, and the actual triggers themselves are just fine. They feel a little basic and I don't love the shape of them personally. But thanks to the hair trigger setting, it has a greatly reduced travel time. And as I just said, they are super quiet in even the most hectic of sessions. The bumpers, much like the triggers, are fine, with not too much to shout about. The additional mini bumper buttons, however, are well placed, easy to hit, and unlike some controllers with this function, I haven't found myself accidentally hitting them, which can be the case, and I'm sure you can imagine this would be extremely frustrating if it ends up costing you when you didn't mean to hit the button anyway. But thankfully, I haven't had this on the X05 Pro. Now, while I am super happy to see more and more controllers implement these extra shoulder buttons, this is the first pad I've seen to only have them as opposed to having back buttons also. Any extra inputs on a controller is great, although it does feel a little limiting not having the back buttons. And if I was going to choose between back buttons or mini bumper buttons, I would have personally preferred the back buttons. Quickly mentioning the face buttons, and they are pretty standard membrane buttons. Fairly cushioned, but don't offer the same sound suppression that the rest of the controller does. Moving on to connecting the gamepad to your devices, and as I said earlier, it connected flawlessly to each of my devices as intended. Connecting to PC was a breeze and it feels super smooth thanks to the high polling rate. Nintendo Switch again feels just as you would want, while I was particularly impressed with how one-to-one it felt on iOS over Bluetooth connection, even when I was playing some notoriously hard to control games like Sonic. Under use it's super comfortable, even over longer play sessions, the rubberized grips helping it feel secure. For me, this is a gamepad aiming at casual play. Yes, it does have some pro features like the high polling rate and extra bumper buttons, and also the hair triggers. But because of the lack of back buttons, you would be at a bit of a disadvantage competitively. So for me, this is generally targeting the single player gamer. So after 4 review sections, what are my overall thoughts on the X05 Pro? Well, for me, this is a suitable upgrade on the original X05. It offers pretty much everything that I liked about the original controller. Cross-platform compatibility, Hall effect thumbsticks, a tempting price point, all wrapped up in a stylish package. But it also comes with some great improvements. Mini bumper button inputs, hair triggers, super comfy silicone side grips, and an overall design philosophy of trying to make a super silent controller. Now, there are a few things I don't like. The bumper buttons and face buttons aren't very satisfying to use. While the addition of mini bumper buttons, which I do appreciate, do seem a little bit pointless without them being paired with traditional back buttons. But overall, I feel the EasySMX X05 Pro is a great budget choice for the gamer looking for an affordable controller that still packs style, but also gives you some extra improvements over a standard gaming controller. But all of this is just my thoughts. Remember to let me know what you think about the X05 Pro in the comments below. And also, if you are tempted, don't forget that there is the 15% discount in the description of the video. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to see more review videos just like this one up here. But anyway guys, that's the video. Thanks so much for watching. And until the next time, I'll catch us.